One thing about Christmas is that it never asks if you are ready. It comes rolling into your life like a drum, loud, insistent, and full of expectation, whether you want it or not. And in Mama Chin's compound, Christmas arrived not quietly, but like a brass band marching through the dusty streets of the village, 2 days before the actual day. Bags thudded onto the ground, children ran in every direction, shouting, laughing, arguing, and nobody seemed to hear anyone else. The smell of fried meat mixed with the faint aroma of onions and the lingering scent of last night's cooking. The air vibrated with excitement and tension, like electricity before a storm. Mama Chin sat on her old wooden chair under the mango tree, fanning herself slowly. She looked like a woman who had seen every Christmas possible, survived them all, and knew the secret. Noise and chaos were always part of the package. Her eyes, sharp and unyielding, scanned the compound as if she could see into people's hearts. Nothing escaped her, not even a fly daring to land on a child's shoulder. "Abazu," she called, her voice calm but firm, carrying authority that made even the wind pause. "Yes, Mama," came the reply from inside the house. "Have you people agreed on the Christmas rice?" Abazu emerged from the kitchen, chest puffed up like a rooster, as if the world had been waiting for his declaration. He was the self-appointed chairman of the family's Christmas affairs, and he carried his title like armor. "Yes, Mama, proper Christmas rice this year, enough to shut mouths." Mama Chin raised a single eyebrow. "Short mouth, Abby. Short mouth opens trouble." Abazu laughed, brushing off her warning. Behind him, Adaku, his wife, wiped her hands on her wrapper. She did not laugh. Years of observing Abazu had taught her that when he said, "Don't worry," it was often a signal that worry had already arrived. She watched him carefully, already sensing the storm that would follow. That evening, as tradition demanded, the family gathered to contribute money for the feast. Each person brought out their share with pride, displaying it like trophies. "Let us be clear," Abazu announced, his voice commanding attention. "Everybody contributes equally. No story." "Yes!" came the chorus of agreement. Akuna, Abazu's younger sister, clapped her hands excitedly. "This year, rice must be plenty. I don't want last year's experience." The room erupted in laughter at the memory of last Christmas, when the rice had mysteriously disappeared before everyone could eat their fill. Ameri, Abazu's cousin, brought out her purse and counted her money slowly, deliberately, making sure everyone noticed her diligence. Her fingers shook slightly, betraying the careful act she was putting on. Amu, another cousin, dropped her own money into the pile hastily, almost in fear that someone would question her. Mama Chin cleared her throat. "Christmas food is not a competition. Put what you can afford." "Aha, Mama," Abazu replied, chest still high. "Christmas is once a year. We must do it big." Adaku glanced at the growing pile of money and felt unease tug at her spirit, but she said nothing. She simply watched, waiting, like a hawk observing the slightest movement of prey. The next day, Abazu set out to the market to buy rice, tomatoes, onions, oil, seasoning, and meat. Amir unexpectedly offered to accompany him. This was unusual, but nobody questioned it. At the market, the bargaining was fierce, the laughter constant, and Adaku, at home, scanned every bag they brought back with suspicion. "This rice looks small," she remarked casually, but Abazu waved her concern away. "It is because you are used to cooking small pots," he said. Adaku only nodded, silently noting her unease. Once back home, preparations began immediately. The family brought out the enormous pots reserved for weddings and burials. Children gathered around, their eyes wide, ready to serve as eager little soldiers in the kitchen. "Who is there?" shouted one child. "I will go first," another called. Arguments broke out over who would stir the meat first, who would add the oil, who would taste the stew.
From her chair under the mango tree, Mama Chin shouted, "If anybody puts their hand inside this pot before Christmas morning, thunder will not fire you, but I will." Laughter rippled through the compound, but the tension was real. Christmas in that compound was never ordinary. It was a battlefield disguised as celebration. Adaku watched carefully. She counted the meat pieces in the pot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Her heart skipped a beat. She adjusted the lid gently, covering it like she would a sleeping baby, and returned to bed without a word. She knew the night would tell more than any words.
As the house settled, stealthy footsteps and quiet whispers told their own stories. Amu tiptoed to the kitchen, her heart hammering. She removed pieces of meat for herself, wrapping them carefully in nylon as if hiding treasures. She nearly collided with Aunt Mary, and the two froze, eyes wide in mutual recognition of guilt. Amakuna also took her share, justifying it to herself as adjustment. Meanwhile, Adaku, patient and observant, noticed the subtle signs of mischief. She did not interfere. Some lessons could only be learned the hard way, and tonight, she knew, would teach many. By the next morning, chaos erupted fully. Children ran about shouting, slippers flew through the air, and the first visitors arrived. "Merry Christmas," they greeted, and there it was, the pot, once full, now suspiciously empty. Eyes widened, jaws dropped, and Abazu turned from guest to guest, confusion and frustration etched across his face. "This is not what we planned," he muttered, voice cracking slightly, eyes darting between Amu and Mary and the empty pots. Akuna, sharp and sarcastic, announced bitterly, "Planned? Stealing meat is part of the planning now?" Mama Chin, calm but authoritative, intervened. "Greed does not trust sharing. The kitchen does not swallow meat, but rooms do." And just like that, the family rushed to inspect hidden nylon bags, uncovering the culprits and teaching lessons that would linger far beyond this Christmas. The visitors, bewildered, left quietly, dropping their plates like the day had been a funeral rather than a feast. The family sat in silence, reflecting on the morning's chaos. Bread and tea replaced the lavish feast, and for the first time, everyone felt hunger, not as a nuisance, but as humility. Later, Mama Chin gathered the family. She spoke carefully, pointing out each lesson, the greed, the mistrust, the pride, and the wisdom that comes from patience and observation. They listened, quietly absorbing the weight of her words. She spoke to Amu about fear and mistrust, to Aunt Mary about pride and greed, to Abazu about oversight and humility, and to Adaku about wisdom and restraint. By the evening, the compound had returned to calm. Children played quietly, adults tended to chores, and the mango tree under which Mama Chin sat seemed older and wiser, as though it had absorbed the day's lessons along with the family. Adaku moved slowly through the compound, washing dishes and wiping surfaces, reflecting on the morning's events. Abazu sat alone, staring at nothing, replaying the chaos in his mind. Akuna sat beside him quietly, offering a small comfort. "This is not punishment, it is a lesson." Mama Chin's voice carried softly through the compound. "Greed eats faster than hunger, but it always exposes itself first."